really put a finger on it, but you associate with this stress with all these changes you've made in your life and all these new things you've been asking for yourself. You start to think this is the source of the stress. It's the working out and all of that and the eating healthy and if I do this one thing, it's gonna allow me release some of that pressure, right? Release some of that steam. But what ends up happening is you tell yourself that, you relapse, you engage in the bad activity, and then once you've completed the action and whatever that is, you ate the junk food, you watched the porn, you used the drug, you drank the wine, you get to the end of it and you realize that it didn't do what you wanted it to do. It didn't completely you don't feel like that's not the feeling you get. You still kind of feel the stress. You feel a bit disappointed that this thing that you had this strong desire to do didn't really scratch the itch or relieve the sense of tension within you. But it did give you a bit of dopamine, and you also feel a bit ashamed for doing it. And you also feel like, well, fuck it, I kind of already fucked it, you know, it's already fucked now. So what you end up doing is you engage even more. You eat even more junk food. You watch even more porn. You go get another bottle of wine and you say, fuck it. And then you end up swinging hard back into the opposite direction. It's like you backslide and you slide back even farther than you were before you started the positive change. Now, in reality, it's only been one day. It was one fuck up. Yeah, you fucked up. You fucked up big, but it doesn't completely erase all the work you've done for the past few days or weeks or months. It tends to feel that way. And so we kind of just say, fuck it. We feel shame and guilt for folding. We feel embarrassed. We feel weak. We kind of just don't get back up on the horse. And usually what has to happen is some more time has to pass. We need to engage in the bad habits for long enough again for it to make us feel shitty about ourselves enough to the point where we're like, all right, let's give this good habit thing a try again. But it doesn't have to go that way. It didn't go that way for me yesterday. And today I woke up feeling rejuvenated, motivated, proud of myself, and optimistic for the rest of this journey. But before I explain what I did and why it works, let me explain why it is that happens. Why it is that out of nowhere, at some point during the early phases of making positive changes in our life, why we get this urge to relapse. And the reason is because you're stretching yourself. Think of yourself as an elastic band. And prior to making any positive changes in your life, you're in a state of equilibrium. You're in a state of comfort. Yes, it's in a state of comfort where you're engaging in all these negative behaviors and exercising all of these bad habits, but you have a routine. You're in your comfort zone. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you have an addiction to pornography. Maybe you can't stop eating junk food. Maybe you don't exercise as much as you should. Maybe you watch too much YouTube, you watch too much Netflix. There is no shortage of bad shit for us to get into in 2022. So you got these, shitty things going on, but you're also comfortable. You don't overdo it. You have your little routine and you stick with it. And you're managing to get by in life as you are. I imagine the results aren't great, but they are what they are. But one day you get inspired, you get motivated, and you decide, you know what, I want to make a positive change in your life. So you decide to start making a change. So you make that change and you go from being a relaxed, comfortable elastic band to now there's a little bit of tension. One of the great things that happens when you make one positive change in your life, it usually has a snowball effect and you start making more positive changes in your life. So with every new positive change in your life, you stretch that elastic band more and more. Just imagine an elastic band here. I wish I actually had one. So this is you before you started making positive changes in your life, right? But as you make more and more positive changes, you went into a caloric deficit and you started eating healthy. You started exercising more. You started journaling. You started to eat. Every time you make a positive change, you go from being that relaxed elastic band that was in equilibrium to now this new elastic band that's under pressure. There is tension. There's mad tension here. And then you hold it here. When you relapse, what basically happens is you snap back into place. Oh, you break under the tension. You never really break, right? Human beings very resilient. We never really break. What happens is you snap back under the tension. And what that's usually caused by is eventually this tension becomes very stressful. It becomes very uncomfortable to be in this position. So what we end up doing is to just be in a state of comfort and to feel some relief. We just let it all go and snap back. And that's what I've done in the past, you know, in making positive change. But here's what I did last night. I surrendered to the tension. What ends up happening is we make all these changes and we want this to be us. We want all these changes to be who we are today, when in reality, we're still under development. And because we want to tell ourselves, oh no, I'm this new guy. I'm this new guy that works out every day without fail. I'm this new guy that eats healthy every day without fail. I'm this new guy who never watches pornography. We want to tell ourselves that's who we are. We kind of try and force ourselves to muscle through all the other stresses of life alongside that. The tension is too strong. And so in order to get some relief, eventually we just crack, we cave, and it goes back into play. Here's what you do. When you get to this spot, you realize that, oh man, I can't take it. You start getting them desires to relapse. Back it off. Relax. Back it off. Don't relapse. Back it off. Take the day to just chill. What does that look like? Well, for instance, for me, right? I've been trying to maintain between a 500 and a 1,000 caloric deficit. But yesterday I said, you know what? As long as I don't overdo my calories, even if I hit my maintenance calories, even if I'm not in any deficit, as long as I don't go over however many calories I was supposed to burn that day, I'm good. So I ended the day with about a 150, 200 calorie deficit. Now, technically that slows down my weight loss progress. Let's say I was trying to be in a 500 caloric deficit every day for a week. I would end the week being in a 3,500 calorie deficit. But now instead, I'm gonna be at like 3,200. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big deal. When you zoom out far enough, when you look at a month of progress, 2 months of progress, 3 months of progress, is that one day where I didn't hit my goal going to be a big deal? Going to be of any significance? No. But you know what would be of significance? If I completely relapsed and allowed myself to be demotivated and to feel guilty and to feel embarrassed and to feel like I failed. The same thing with exercise. If you usually run, like I usually run 3 miles in the morning and then ride my bike at night and do calisthenics in the middle of the day. Yesterday, I did my 3-mile run in the morning and that was it. Did no calisthenics in the day, didn't do my bike ride at night. Okay, that's fine. I also didn't force myself to try and get a ton of work done in the evening, right? I did my reactions in the morning. I wanted to also work on some animation stuff, do some tax related stuff. It's tax season now. But instead, you know what? I did my reactions in the morning and I said, okay, that's enough. I spent the evening just chilling. I watched a movie with my girl. I set up some baby stuff. Like I set up the crib that's been in the box for like the last few weeks. I took it easy as I could without engaging in bad habits, without feeling like I completely like broke my good habits that I'm trying to form. To use the elastic band again and to get back to the elasticity metaphor. So my wife, right? Pregnant, all that, 9 months. She got this exercise ball recently that she's supposed to do, you know, pregnant things on. Like she's supposed to do special stretches using this exercise ball. So she got it and she wanted me to inflate it. And when I first inflated it, it didn't get as big as she thought it was gonna get based on the size on the box. And then I open up the manual and it says, inflate to maximum capacity. Ball may not inflate to final size upon first inflation. Inflate it as much as you can, and then in 24 hours, deflate it to 50%, then reinflate it again and it will go to its full size. And that's kind of like how we are. You stretch yourself, you try to hold this as long as you can, reap all the benefits of stretching yourself, but then once you feel like that tension is at a breaking point, relax, give yourself a day, shit, maybe give yourself 2. Just don't engage in the bad habits. Don't allow yourself to completely snap back. Don't allow yourself to relapse. Just tone it down, exercise less, eat a little bit more, just don't eat unhealthfully. If it's porn, you can't watch porn, I wouldn't say that, but maybe look at other things in your life that is a point of stress. Anything that you can take it easy on, take it easy. If it's porn, the only thing that makes that day a win is you didn't watch porn. You feel me? Maybe you slack off on some other areas, but if that's like the behavior you're trying to fix, you make winning that day just about that. If all you did is just not watch porn that day, you fucking watched a bunch of TV, you went on a long walk, you weren't very productive, that's fine, because that feeling that you're about to break is temporary. And just like the exercise ball, you give yourself that slack, and this starts to become your new normal. Instead of stretching from where you were in the beginning all the way to here, you're now going from here to here. Here becomes a lot less difficult to achieve. I mean, if you've ever had an elastic band or a hair tie or anything, you'll know when it's fresh out the box, they're really tight, kind of like a virgin. It's really tight, but if you stretch it enough, long enough, it becomes more slack. But at the same time, its capacity, the amount it can stretch to, also increases. Eventually, this elastic band, if I were to do this with this every day, I would be able to get it out to here without it breaking. Sure, it won't return back to its original super tight position, but we don't want to get back to our original super tight position anyway. We want those bad habits to be gone. We want to elevate where our comfort level is. So I woke up today and all of those desires completely faded. And is that the last time I'm going to experience that? No. And these things happen in waves. You know, you might overcome it one day, a day or two may pass, you get more waves again. But they pass, and they pass rather quickly. They don't usually last more than a few days. And then you have a nice long stretch of being able to exercise yourself at your maximum capacity. And then you'll get that feeling of, okay, I need to relax. Then you relax, and then you get back at it. And that's how over time, you become this new person that your old self wouldn't even recognize. Truly, the problem comes from a sense of impatience, wanting to be perfect or to get to where we want to get immediately. You have to understand, this is a process, and you're making a major change in your life that is going to impact your life tremendously in a positive way, if it can become who you are. So hopefully that resonated with someone. Hopefully that was helpful to someone. And the best thing that could possibly happen is someone who is on the verge of relapsing with some negative behavior or some bad habit that they've been trying to curb, watches this video, takes a big deep breath and say, okay, let me back it down. Let me just relax today. Get a nice good sleep, and more likely than not, you're going to wake up tomorrow rejuvenated and able to execute again at your maximum capacity.